Hello everyone. I'm here with Ivan from REDOUND.
Hey, what's up?
What's up? REDOUND is one of the biggest beatdown hardcore bands in the region. You guys just finished the show with BEATDOWN and all the other local bands. The first question I want to ask you in this interview: where did beatdown and hardcore start for you in your youth?
Yeah, that's a good one. I was always a metalhead, to be honest, from a very young age, but I didn't even know what hardcore is, obviously, in my initial years. But once I got to probably high school, I realized there is like a local scene. So some of the biggest local bands like Last Hope and Face Up were already playing. I was also always into metal, like I said, and also crossover, so I was just going to different shows, they were mixing it up. And at some point I realized that probably hardcore is my lane, it's probably the thing that fits me the best. And I just started going to local shows, probably around 1999 for a few years, and then 5-6 years later I met the guys from our band that we are currently still holding it together.
When exactly did you start making music with REDOUND?
So the band started in 2003, but I became part of the band in 2005. Before that, the band had two other vocalists. The first one was there for like a year, and then he immigrated to Canada actually. And then the other guy substituted him, and we were together for around 10 years until 2014, and then around 2014 he left the band, and since then it was just me.
What was the first album you ever released?
The first album we released is called Upon You, 2009. We actually released it through a label, which sounds a bit wild, but we did Spook Records, it's a Polish label. So he did us a big favor, decided that he likes what we're doing and released it.
5 minutes please, sorry.
But before that, we had a couple of official recordings. We had a split CD with a band from France called Crawling Ground, and the guys from Poland, Bloodstained, who are still playing, by the way. They're a massive old school death metal / hardcore band. And this is where actually the connection to Poland became real, and then we were able to reach out to Spook Records to release the first album. And before that we had a demo, so that's it.
So I imagine you also did a show in Poland pretty soon.
We haven't had any shows in Poland. Okay. Yeah, I know, it's weird. But
yeah, that's a bit weird then.
No.
If I remember right, is this the record with the hockey background?
So that's the hockey background is the split CD with Bloodstained and Crawling Ground, yes. Which is 1 year before the first album, and the first album has a green drone cover with silhouettes of people. That's it.
Yeah, you mentioned earlier that Face Up and Last Hope were active when you started going to shows. Were there some other bands that are worth mentioning from the time?
Oh yeah, definitely. So I'm not that young, but I'm a bit younger than those people. They are considered to be the first wave of Bulgarian hardcore, which probably started around 93, 94. One of the first bands was Confront from Varna. They are more like a punk band, but also hardcore. So the Varna scene is actually very important for the Bulgarian hardcore scene. There's a bunch of old school bands that have started like 6 years maybe before I started going to shows. I would say, I don't want to miss someone, but BFH from Varna, Indignity, Outrage, so these are all from Varna. They're very important bands in the Bulgarian scene, and from Sofia obviously Face Up and Last Hope, but also some bands that no longer exist. Skinflick are one of my favorite bands from back then. Breakaway and a bunch of others. I just don't want to name too many because I'm going to miss someone. Yeah, but there have always been crazy bands before we started playing, for sure.
Do you remember like your first experience at a hardcore show?
Yeah, I do. It was a mix-up of a show that was basically crossover versus hardcore in an old school club in Sofia, which no longer exists. It was called The Scene, Scenata. And there were 3 crossover bands and 3 hardcore bands, and they were basically, one crossover band is on the stage, then another hardcore band. It was like a friendly versus, you know, the styles. And I was just impressed with people just jumping off the rocks and, you know, stage diving and all of that. Moshing was obviously different because it was 25 years ago, but it has always been wild. So yeah, I remember my first experience for sure. Yeah.
Yeah. And do you remember what bands were playing again?
Definitely Last Hope. And I'm forget about the others. But on the crossover side, I remember Innsmouth and Separate, which are very important band names for the Bulgarian underground scene. They are not on the hardcore side, but crossover and alternative metal definitely important for the local scene.
And which were some of like the first beatdown bands in Bulgaria?
I don't want to sound like I'm you know, patting my back, but there were none before we started doing what we were doing. I mean, no one was labeling themselves as such.
Just come get what you need. Sorry. No, just take what you need. Don't worry, I'll cut it out.
Yeah, thanks, man.
No problem. Don't want to make you wait or something.
Don't worry about it.
I'll cut it out.
Okay.
Thank you, man. Bye. Can you close the door, please?
Yeah.
So I don't want to sound like a pompous prick.
Yeah, I mean, I assumed REDOUND was the first band. I wasn't sure, so I wanted to check.
Definitely not the first in terms of sound, obviously not. I don't want to disrespect anybody before us. No one was labeling themselves as beatdown for sure, but if you listen to Face Up, to Strength Remains, the first album, there's definitely breakdowns everywhere.
Yeah.
So when it comes to the sound, I would say they're probably the band that started making things really harder and more breakdownish before us.
Yeah, I get what you mean. What I wanted to ask was, when you make your music, like what inspires you the most to write all those riffs? Like, are there any bands you would listen to get inspired?
Yeah, we have always liked Shattered Realm, mainly, and a bunch of other American bands before that, around that period, 2004, 2006, that range. So Shattered Realm, NJ Bloodline, and Redline, these are all New Jersey bands.
Yeah.
Sworn Enemy is more like a typical hardcore band, but also a lot of breakdowns. But also the European scene that started developing around that period in the mid-2000s, which was the MySpace years. So you just mentioned we played Burn Them Out. We've always very much liked the UK scene. In some of our albums we actually have featurings with people from Cold Hard Truth, from Desolated, so we very much appreciate the UK beatdown scene. I've always liked Stamping Ground, I've always liked Knuckle Dust, and a bunch of German bands and other European bands. Nasty are very important for us, obviously. So yeah, these are the inspirations probably.
Yeah, it's very interesting that you mentioned. I noticed like there's this connection between UK beatdown and beatdown in Bulgaria. Like at Hardcore Christmas we had Desolated.
Yep.
Recently there was Stamping Ground. Now we have Burn Them Out. I feel like relatively often UK hardcore bands come over.
Yeah, also Guilt Trip were here 2 years ago,
Yeah.
I think, which are not beatdown, but
they're
are alternative hardcore groove.
Yeah.
I like them a lot. Stamping Ground, the first Stamping Ground was 2004.
I saw you had the original ticket.
Yeah, it was 2004. I was on that show. I was 19 years old, and I still have my original ticket from that show. So yeah, I've always liked the UK bands a lot.
Don't worry about it. What I wanted to ask was... 1 second please, now I got lost. So we were talking about the connection between UK hardcore. So you saw Stamping Ground in 2004?
Yeah.
I imagine Stamping Ground was quite an influence for you.
Yeah, definitely. The Carved from Empty Words, that album is insane. It was, when I heard it for the first time, I couldn't believe what I'm hearing. It was like something that, it was mixing death metal with hardcore and with things that I couldn't really imagine. So yeah, definitely a big influence when I was younger, for sure. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that's a really cool band, especially Cold Hard Truth, Bound by God, that's just insane. Yeah. Let me ask you, you've been on tour before, obviously.
Yeah, a few times, yeah.
Where have you been? Like,
we've mostly been to Germany, touching base on France a couple of times, and also Belgium. And the first tour happened.
Guitar, man.
You can take your guitar, man. Come inside, please.
No, wait.
Come in, take your fucking guitar, man.
Hey, man, I liked your band, man. Nice band, man.
nice band, man.
It was nicer with the garlic, but okay.
Vinci, я змея тачанчик.
Doesn't.
You could have just taken it, man. No, thank you.
Sorry for the introduction.
Oh.
Okay.
Yeah, so what did you say?
What was like your best tour experience?
We
And who did you tour with? All that, you know, the package.
So we had a tour with these guys from Spain. What was their name? You have to edit that because I have to message you and I don't remember. Brothers Till We Die. I think it is Brothers Till We Die. And also it wasn't for the whole tour, but we played with this again UK band which I love, Full Contact. I love Full Contact. These guys are fucking crazy. I love them. And Germans.
There's a lot of Germans.
Circle of Death. Circle of Death, which is one of my favorite old school German bands, yeah, from back in the day. Yeah, so those are the names mainly.
And where were you going? Like which direction? Like Germany, over to France? Did you have
Yeah,
a show in Spain?
we had like 3 shows in Germany, if I recall, and no, first we hit France, but close to Belgium, and from there we went for 3 shows to Germany. One was One Life One Crew Fest, which was crazy. Malevolence were headliners. It was a fest. The other shows were local, and then we went back, if I recall, to Belgium, and then we went home. It was like 5 shows or something like that. That was one of the examples. And on the next year we played a couple of shows again in Belgium and Germany, and one of those was AAK Fest, which is this guy from Germany that has an online store. He's close to Harlequin and these other beatdown bands.
Is this in Trier?
In Trier.
Yeah, this is where the guys from Varna are going soon.
From the guys from Varna, and also he has contacts with some of the Greeks that came for the show here today. Yeah.
Yeah, I saw that Grindhouse also. There's some bands
Yeah.
from America.
Yeah.
It's a pretty cool thing, basically. What's like? Do you have any like crazy? I'd say craziest story from a show or from tour.
We've had vehicles break down and we have no fucking money for gas and all of that bullshit. We had to sleep in the middle of nowhere on the side of the road. We had people without underwear. That just
They didn't pack
just the usual bullshit. You know, you go somewhere for a week and you have to be in this fucking tin can, which is the bus, the small thing with the rest of your bandmates, and you don't know what to expect. Everybody's drunk, everybody's vomiting everywhere, people are tired, you're sweaty, you smell. For a week, you know how it is. You sleep whenever you can. You have absolutely no money. It's the typical bullshit for a band that nobody knows. So it's the usual experience. Yeah, but it's fun. It's fun. It's smelly, but it's fun.
Yeah, you wouldn't do it if it wasn't fun.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
I guess.
What was like the favorite show ever that you saw?
Shattered Realm.
When did you see Shattered
We
Realm?
played with Shattered Realm in 2008 in Sofia.
I didn't know that. That's
Yes,
fucking crazy.
and the band
actually.
was still called Envy because that's the first name of the
Yeah.
band. So we became REDOUND in 2009. Before that we were Envy, and we played with Shattered Realm. They came to Sofia. They had a local show. It was with Joe Hardcore. He was on vocals already.
Fucking
So
legend,
it wasn't Chris. It wasn't the original vocalist, but Joe Hardcore, and the show was fucking insane. And I actually did This World Is Mine with them during their set on stage because we were covering it with the band.
Yeah.
Unforgettable, for sure.
This is my favorite Shattered Realm song.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's fucking insane.
amazing. And also we had a couple of shows with Nasty, not only in Sofia but also in Salonika, and we love them. They're I wouldn't say friends because we're not that close, but we're in good terms with them, and they have helped us with some things. So I love Mati, I love that band. I
Big
think they're
respect
very
for
cool.
them.
Yeah,
They're
absolutely.
very cool guys,
Super cool
definitely.
guys. Yeah.
To finish this off, can you please tell me what are your favorite 4 hardcore records of all time?
Yeah, my personal favorite band is 6 Foot Ditch, which is a UK band. It's a
March
bit
of the SLD.
Yeah, it's a bit niche right now because they stopped playing like 10 plus years ago, but there's so many. I love the first record of Burn Them Out, we just played with them. Obviously, there's a couple of records of Shattered Realm that are just insane. But there's so many, like Crow Space, Everything Nasty have ever released, a bunch of other German bands. Knuckle Dust and Stamping Ground we already mentioned. So European things, but also on the other side, I also listen to a bit of a more black and hardcore things, more atmospheric. So I like some of these bands. Obviously, I'm wearing Warp Shepherd right now. There's just too many, but probably the most influential and most significant one for us is on the local side. Bulgarian band is Vendetta. Their first album, which is Amici Dei in Amici Mundi, which is in Latin. And on the non-local side, it's Shattered Realm, the one that everybody knows, with All Will Suffer and all of this.
Yeah, No
all
Mercy,
this.
everything else.
No Mercy, yeah.
Yeah, this is a really cool album.
Yeah.
What's your favorite Vendetta song actually?
My favorite Vendetta song has to be either Watch Your Back or On My Way, probably Watch Your Back.